Hello, St. Thomas pickleball players. I'm here in the Villages in Florida with Deb Harrison, one of the premier pickleball players in North America. Some of you probably don't know this, but the Villages is a mecca for the sport and produces some of the best players in the U.S. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Dave.
I've got a copy here of Deb's pickleball resume in front of me, and it's pretty unbelievable. She teaches clinics here in the Villages and basically teaches them for free. She also gives private lessons. She's participated in a lot of tournaments and the Florida Senior Games. She's won a ton of gold medals. The national tournament in Buckeye, Arizona, she's won medals there, and also won medals at the Huntsman's World Senior Games in St. George, Utah. She must have a truckload of medals at home, that's all I have to say, and that's a really impressive list of achievements. I think it'd be fair to say right now that pickleball is your life, and I just wanted to ask you, how did all this get started? If you could take us back to the beginning and kind of give us a story of how you got from there to here.
Okay, the year was 2009. Oh, no, it must have been 2003. And I was introduced to pickleball down in Fort Myers. They had one pickleball court. I'm a former tennis teaching pro. My major was in physical education. I taught for about 20 years, and I coached tennis for a number of years. And so I saw this little thing called pickleball with a plastic ball, and I said, that looks like fun. So I started playing in a place down in Fort Myers, and I was pretty much right away one of the better players in this resort area on this one court. The golf pro at the Villages invited my friend and I up to the Villages, and I came to visit. And I saw all the 80 pickleball courts at that time, and I said, I gotta move. So I put my 2 homes up for sale, and I moved to the Villages in 2005. After thinking that I'd go 6 months, 1 2-month period of time down here, I said, nope, I gotta move there full time so I can play my pickleball all year round. And that's exactly what I do. If it's not raining, I'm playing pickleball.
And the rest is history, as they say. Just talk about paddles here for a minute. I notice you use a Paddletech paddle, and so do I. And the last 3 paddles I've seen you play with have all been Paddletechs. Do you have any advice for players about what paddle to use, especially if they're new, or what kind of paddle you would recommend, that sort of thing?
There are so many paddles on the market. The reason I like Paddletech, I'll show you a little picture of the Teardrop Stratus. Here's this Teardrop Stratus. The reason I like this paddle is because it's light. It's one of the lightest paddles on the market. It's got a 5-year company warranty. That's really a selling point. It doesn't break down, in other words, crack and get soft. It stands up to play. It has no dead spots. It's a smaller paddle face than some, so you have a central sweet spot, However, some people play with the Bantam. That gives you more power for your buck. I played with the Bantam Paddletech, and that was just too powerful for me. It was a little bit heavier, so I couldn't snap over the ball, and I'm not as strong as some people. Some people really like Mike Gates in the national scheme, likes a 15-ounce paddle. Well, that would be like a club in my hand. I can't hold. For beginners, I would say the lighter the better, so you can manipulate your paddle with ease. But try them out. Try your friend's paddle. Get to feel something. So, and you want longevity of a paddle. You don't want to start buying a paddle every 6 months because it's wearing down. So this will stand up to pressure too.
Yeah, that's exactly why I bought my Paddletech. I decided I needed a lighter paddle. This weighs 6.9 ounces, and I find it's really, really quick, which is what I like. I used to use a heavier paddle, and I was having the same problem you were with hitting the ball
and
too hard.
Pickleball involves a lot of snapping of the wrists. So if you have a heavy paddle and you're a little delayed snapping of the wrist, you're going to file out because you can't get the paddle over. So if you're a racquetball player, you have an advantage of snapping wrists. Tennis players use a little bit more arm swing, so they're not as familiar with wrist snaps as racquetball people or badminton players.
I mentioned the free weekly clinics that you give here in the Villages. I've taken a number of these, and they're really excellent. Maybe you could tell us how you got started into that and what typically a clinic would consist of.
Well, I would say about 6 years now, Tom Nonamaker gave up many of his duties in the villages. He was in charge of this clinic, and he asked me if I'd like to take over. And being pretty much a born teacher, I've been teaching all my life, I said, sure, I'd like to do it. And I do like to do it. And what I do is people sign up the week before, 24 people, and every week, this is what I do. I say, how's your game? What would you like to work on? And I can do anything. So whatever the group brings up to me that they want to work on, everybody does it. So what I do is I get 4 ideas in my head about what I'd like to do, and we drill for a good hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, and then play and see if it transfers into the game. You back home, you've got to get a practice group going. Get a practice group of your own, 2, 3, 4 people, even 2 people is good. So you can practice the many, many components of the game, break it down, and do it so it becomes rote, becomes automatic. And at the end of it, you're going to have all the components perfected if you work on your game with a playing partner and group.
You know, it's funny, we all say we have to practice, and we should practice, but a lot of us never do, and I think that's something we're going to have to work on with our club when we get back home.